intro plan, but I can't think of it off the top of my head now. But
all right.
So
actually, that'd be a really cool video though, because I think Go ahead, Dan.
So I wasn't exactly stalking today, but I think I kind of was. So I get propane, and I get it filled up at the place where she works. And she doesn't work on like the ground level of the floor. She works on like the cubicle section of it, where regular people can't get back there. And I've been kind of worried lately because we never use condoms, like, ever. And it's been like 6 months, and it still fucks with you, because we haven't talked at all. We just kind of broke up, and like we never talked again,
Yeah.
And it's like I haven't seen her because she never goes out anywhere. She doesn't go anywhere in town, not at all. Like, it's usually me dragging her out to go do stuff, which is annoying as shit. It's like usually with women, they're the ones dragging you out, It's like I had to take up that slack somewhere, we had to go do stuff. So I remembered that about the time she got off work, so I planned that. So I'm out getting friggin' propane done, staring at her car, and like I missed her by like 2 minutes because like I left, went in, paid, back out, and her car was gone. I was like, shit. He's like, I just need to. It's like it's 6 months. It's 6 months you can tell if they're pregnant or not, right? Like, they're pretty obvious at that point. I mean, even though it's wintertime in Montana, even with bulky ass clothes, you should be able to tell. I don't know if that makes me a stalker or just preparing for the worst or whatever. That whole 18 years of child support, I think it's up to like, see, in 2007, I've seen a report, it was like $125,000 over 18 years for child support. That's like, so it's been 20 years, inflation, people are more expensive now. So it's got to be like $250,000 over 18 years. And it's like, that doesn't sound like a lot, when you do the math on it, but fuck, I got way too much cool shit I want to buy with that money, Most of it I'm going to fuck off. And it was a meme that got me started doing that. It was this really hot chick in a stroller, and it was the caption, nothing makes a guy a math whiz than seeing his ex with a baby. And I was just like, oh my, and then I started thinking about this last one. I was like, oh fuck, dude. And she is the kind of person who would do that. It's kind of why I dumped her. Found out she was like, we were a month into a relationship, and she told me that she had to keep remaking her Tinder account because I kept swiping the wrong way on her every time that she came up.
Okay.
And I'm kind of sitting there. And yeah, I'm kind of sitting there. I was like, oh, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's like, why were you after me? So it's like, oh, I saw you driving your motorcycle through town all the time. And I got a crotch rocket. Everybody else loves it. I think it looks 20 years old and ugly, but everybody fucking loves this thing, right? So apparently I got her. But then I come to find out, and she starts talking about, she didn't know, she was trying to run into me in town, and she couldn't do it because she kept going to a different grocery store in town. She never thought to come to the one that I go to.
Okay. And
she starts telling me all this stuff, and I'm kind of sitting here like, and the more she talks, the louder the Twilight Zone music starts playing in my head, And I'm sitting here like, okay, she was cool up until this point. It's time to dump her. Yep. This is why she was single.
Little red,
and it was great.
Little red
like
flags are popping up
and shit like that. Just got to. Yeah. So about a week or two later, I get off work. I roll into my place. I'm just stepping out of my truck, and I get a text from her saying, hey, I know where you live now. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And like, I'm looking around like, what the fuck? And like, I wasn't paying attention or anything. Her car was not following me. So I guess she had a friend or something. Or she borrowed a friend's car or something. And that's when I was just kind of like, okay, now we definitely got to get rid of her. And so I don't know. She started getting really bitchy with me and shit. And I just kind of dumped her right there on the spot. But it was weird because she was perfectly fine. Like 99 or 98% of the time, perfectly fine. It was that other 2% where you're just like, holy fuck. But so there's my story intro. But now I'm just scared shitless I got her knocked up because we never use condoms. And when you think about it, it's like, yeah, that's what somebody would do who is trying to get pregnant.
Yep. It's one way to lock a man in.
But but we only had that. Yeah. Oh, she ain't getting it. If she did that to me, I'm going to make the next 18 years of her life a living hell. I mean, she's already got a kid with another guy. So it's like, I mean, I know how this stuff works in small. Go get a hold of this motherfucker and be like, all right, time to combine forces. but yeah, there's too much going on there. Okay, so we need to talk about something else here besides
all right, pick a topic.
Oh, it was Warhammer 40K and the new ideas I have for videos.
All right, let's do the
stream. So you run Imperial Guard, right?
What was that? You broke up. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So you run Imperial Guard, right? My stuff not working?
Can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
Can't hear me? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So you run Imperial Guard.
The last thing I heard was Imperial Guard.
All right. So you're saying that you run Imperial Guard, right?
I have an army, yeah. So I have a decent sized tank army. I have 19 tanks in it. And then Haney was giving me shit that I didn't have enough bodies, so I went and put up 40 more troops to buff it up some.
Yeah, so how did I get started on Warhammer 40K? I think it was Space Marine. Came out on Xbox. Okay. And it got me kind of interested. And it's a horrible way to get started on Warhammer doing anything Space Marine because you have no idea what the hell is going on. Like, because they never Space Marines never all the lore and all that stuff. Like Space Marines are the top dogs every single time. They have problems with the Inquisition or something like that. So if you start out Warhammer 40K just on Space Marines, it's going to really suck for you, and you're probably not going to like it.
Yeah.
But so I started out. So that's what got me interested with Space.
So I started years ago. So I'm talking 1997. I started, and I picked Space Marines because I liked big robots and big tanks. If Tau would have been around then, I probably would have picked Tau because I wanted the big robots. But they didn't have them, so I picked Space Marines. And I enjoyed them back then, but that was also back in like 3rd edition, so you really didn't have a whole lot of options. Moving forward, I got out of them quickly and started picking. I picked up Tyrannid because everyone was playing Space Marines, and it got boring after a while of everyone fighting my Space Marine versus your Space Marine. So I decided to buy Tyrannid so I can at least have the bad guy to fight, and that's the way it was for years and years and years.
Yeah, so I don't even play the game. I just literally fast forward a lot actually in my story with Warhammer is I just got Custodes because I think it was the Emperor of Mankind, which is a Horus Heresy book, which is actually a pretty good book. Has a lot of background for the Emperor's origin story and stuff like that. I think they give away too much about the Emperor's origin story there. And then they have just basically Custodes just destroying Space Marines nonstop until their blood turned into freaking lead, and they were still fighting them just fine. But yeah, I kind of went with that, and then I got into I have to look it up. I forgot, but so I went through. So I started out with Space Marine, and then I started listening to a guy called Luton. I can't remember, on on YouTube. He makes like 2 hour long videos on just about everything
on the lore and stuff.
Lore.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, his thing popped up one day. I was cleaning out a garage, so I just like turned it on my phone and like put it on a Bluetooth speaker, and I was just listening to everything, like all of his lore and shit like that. I was just like, okay, I got to start listening to the book. So I started out with Horus Heresy because I didn't understand that Warhammer 40K and the Horus Heresy, they're kind of different. It's like they made two different genres of Warhammer 40K, because like Warhammer 40K and Horus Heresy are two different things, just about. And I think they're getting worse, honestly. But gaming wise, and I don't play the game. All I did was all I wanted to do was listen to all Horus. I figured I'd listen to all the Horus Heresy books, and then I'd go on the Warhammer 40K. Well, I didn't realize that Horus Heresy releases books about the same rate as Warhammer 40K. So the story's still going for Horus Heresy, and obviously it's still going for 40K. And now, and like, there's so many sub stories in there. And a lot of the Horus Heresy books were good, and then a couple of them were pretty repetitive.
Yeah, so the Horus Heresy series itself has 52 books in it, which is crazy. I've gotten through about 30 of them, but I did not go through all the, like you said, there's a whole bunch of little side stories and stuff. I did the ones that just, whatever further plot was the ones I got through. I'm going through the Siege of Terra now, and really enjoying it. I'm on the one called Warhawk, which is around Jegediah Khan, the leader of the White Scars, going after Mortarion of the Death Guard. So enjoying that one. I think there's 2 more books after this that'll get us up to the end of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah. I mean, I think I went through like 20 Horus Heresy books in a row. Like, I started out beginning and was going through. I just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore, because there's so many books that overlap, and then the same stories overlap from different perspectives, and it's like, dude, I don't care. And so I skipped ahead because I wanted to find the book where the Emperor died, and so I got Saturnine Gate, and that's not it either. And then I got to doing more looking, like, that book hasn't even been wrote yet. It's just out in the Codex. Yep. And then you find out what the Codex is, and you're like, why haven't I just been reading the Codex? Oh, you got to pay $40. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like, I finally bought a Codex around Christmas. I got the Custodian's Codex, and then they released a new Codex almost a week later. It's like a big fuck you. It's hard doing the lore. I've been doing this for years, and I haven't figured out. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I haven't figured out the lore for Warhammer yet. Like, how does this work? What's like,
so one thing I've been telling friends who look at 40K and go, hey, it's too expensive or it's too hard to get into.
Yeah.
One thing I've been telling them about is there's a thing called one-page rules. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
So what they did was they kind of looked around and said, hey, we realize 40K is big. We realize fantasy's big, realize this is big, but it's too expensive, too hard to get into. So they have a website called onepagerules.com, and they've condensed down into a few genres. Their first genre is what they call Grimdark, which is kind of the 40K rule system. It's one-page rules that you apply across all your armies. Super simplified, super watered down, and it's made to play with just generic armies. So you go out and get, space soldiers for Imperial Guard, and here's the rules for playing space soldiers. And they've tried to one-for-one kind of make it to where you can play your 40K armies in it. They've also released their own miniatures that you can 3D print on your own and say, go 3D print these, have fun with them. So I've been pointing people to, hey, if you want to try 40K without getting into the big 40K cost, but you like miniatures, you want to paint miniatures and have fun, look at one-page rules.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what my idea for the next couple of videos is taking. Let me see if I still got that. There's actually a couple different ways you can get into it. I can't figure out if they released this shit at the same time or if one didn't work and they tried the other. So here's what I got before I got my Custodes. Yep. Yeah, I got this one. It has a Necron and a Space Marine in it.
Yep.
Like just a regular assault intercessor, and then whatever a Necron is. I don't know anything about Necrons. I've only listened to one book about them, and I didn't get that much out of it. Then you got, this is what you and me were talking about earlier, the Imperium Magazine.
Yep.
And this is this has got to be the cheapest way ever to get into it.
It definitely does. So they actually did, one of the websites called Bolter and Chain, Bolter and Chain. Anyway, they did a breakdown of the entire cost and shows how much you save by getting the whole thing. And it was something like 60% off if you get everything across it. And by the end, you have 2 armies and enough scenery for a full table to play. So it's actually a pretty darn good deal. Yeah. Then if you did the upgrade in which you got some of the extra stuff with it, like you got an extra paint here and there, or you got some extra maze and stuff, of course, those will almost end up being free when it's all said and done. So it's definitely cool, especially if you're starting out. If you're just looking to get a couple armies to get playing, I think it's a great way. The other thing I like about it is, even if you don't subscribe to it, like you said, you can go to Barnes and Noble. If you can look ahead and figure out which issues have specific models in it, like you can say, hey, I want a Rhino, or I want this, just go buy that one, and it's going to be a huge savings for you.
Yeah, that reminds me, I haven't been back to Barnes and Noble since I found this, so I don't even know if they have them out. Yeah, I gotta go back and figure that out and see if I can order them.
Yeah, I think it just released like 2 or 3 weeks ago was the official launch in America. So they launched last year. They sent out 2 editions and then they stopped. And they're like, hey, this was just like a testing the waters. And like I said, I think 2 weeks ago is the official relaunch of the full series in the United States. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I got to get back to Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And like I said, I hope that after this is done, they will expand, because they did this 2 years ago in Europe, and it was Space Marines versus Death Guard. And it was a great deal to get a full Death Guard army. And I was hoping that they would bring it over here and do that, but they decided to swap the Necrons in and stuff. And I was like, I don't need metal boys.
Yeah. And you know what? I actually have Space Marines. They're crap. I don't think I got any of them out. They're what the hell were they? Heavy assault intercessors or whatever the hell it was. Here's one. Here's one that I bought individually. It's a captain.
Nice.
I bought all these guys because I started out with this guy out of the little starter kit, and I put together the Necron 2. And I painted him up. He's not anybody's color. He's literally whatever colors I had on hand, basically. And then I went and got the green for the. Yeah. He looked stupid, so I finally went and bought the Necron green for the glow. But so I put those 2 guys together, and I was like, oh yeah, because the whole idea was that I was going to put together Custodes, because like I said, I've read enough Custodes books. I was like, fuck yeah, I want Custodes. Well, I started putting my Custode together, and like it's not snapped together like that stuff is. And so I totally fucked up my first Custodes trying to, because I knew this a long time ago, and somehow I forgot about it, but plastic glue melts the glue together.
Yep.
I didn't know that. So I fucked this guy up. And I had to go through after it dried, and file it up, and, put a little bit of green stuff in there and file it down again. And so I finally I went and I got all these friggin' Space Marines. It's like the assault intercessors or whatever the hell. Not assault intercessors. It's heavy support. It was the machine gunner one. One of the guys had a machine gun. I was like, that's my guy, because I was a assault gunner in the Marine Corps, right? So I go and I put these guys together as best as I fucking can. They look amazing, all that shit. And then I finally started working on my Custodes. And the thing is, I'm not even building an army to play with. I just want to fucking paint Custodes because I'm that fucking bored or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a cool way of going, though. I have one friend that his entire basement he's got minis everywhere, and he's never played a single game. He likes the modeling and the painting aspect of it. And I'm like, hey, which happens to be the part I hate. I hate painting. I hate modeling. I'll do it because I want models, but
send them to me. A couple and some paint that you want done on them. But
so right now I'm working on I'm working on a big Sisters of Battle army.
Yeah, I haven't read a single book on them. I've listened to some of the Major Kill lore on YouTube, but no, I still got these gals to get done. I don't.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, because they go along with the Custodes. They're
Yep.
They,
Talons
they
of the Emperor.
Yep, Talons of the Emperor, which I still don't understand what that does to the tabletop because I've never played it. But no, I mean, but yeah, you listen to the books and you're like, so yeah, the Custodes go, they're made to work with the Sisters of Silence, and apparently in one of the books they threw Grey Knights in with the Custodes too. And if you think about it, those two would kind of make sense together. I really don't know that much about the Grey Knights either. I haven't got a chance to read any of their books either.
Actually, one thing that's kind of fun is listening to that Horus Heresy series and seeing kind of the beginnings of the Grey Knights. They haven't called them that yet, but you can see like Gabriel Loken has been chosen to lead up a new group, and like he started manifesting weird powers he didn't have before and everything. I'm like, okay, that's the beginning of the Grey Knights right there. And then the last book, which was what was that one? Sanguinor? No. Or the last book I was listening to. It's the beginning of the Inquisition. They're calling them Inquisitors, or not Inquisitors. What are they calling them? Yeah, it is Inquisitors. And they're going out and just gathering information, but it's the beginning of the Inquisition. So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool how they're looping it all in.
Yeah, it was all Malcador, the Sigilite, getting all that shit put together. And he would be so pissed if he saw what all that shit turned into 10,000 years later.
Oh yeah.
He would be slitting people's throats if he saw what they were now. But
yep. Shame he's not going to survive.
There's actually a book out, and I'm not going to say which one because it's a 20-minute listen on Audible. And it gives away just so much about the Horus Heresy and like the Primarchs and stuff. Like it gives away so much stuff. I kind of wish they had wrote that book. It was so bad. And it's a great book, and it gives you just a huge insight into like the Emperor's plans and all this shit. And it basically, I'll boil it down, is the Emperor doesn't want mankind to have Space Marines, Custodes, Primarchs, anything. The only thing, the Emperor's doing all this stuff so regular humans inherit the galaxy. He doesn't want anybody else. Like everybody else is just basically a means of the end. It's kind of scary when you think about it. But then when you think about it, it's like, yeah, I can see that. I mean, you can't have Space Marines around because you compete with them. So
yeah, he wanted to try to. He realized that eventually humans are all going to be psychers and they're going to rule the universe. He didn't want to wait, so he's like, I'm kickstarting all this. So let me get the Space Marines going. Let me do all this to kind of push all this forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was kind of weird. One of the Horus Heresy books, God, what the hell? Which one was it? One of the Prospero books. I want to say because there's a couple. The IKEA. What was it? The hell did they call it? Crap, I can't remember. It's where the Emperor decided they weren't going to have basically librarians anymore.
Oh, the sanction or the
Council. Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, Nicaea.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird that he did that because it totally fucked so many loyalists towards the end. I mean, it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird how.
Yeah, basically, I mean, it screwed over most of the loyalists. The couple of chapters who had, explanations around it, like the Space Wolves. Oh, we don't have Psychers, we have Rune Priests, or the White Scars. Oh no, we have Stormed guys. They do the Storm. They're not Psychers. So they still had some power, but the Ultramarines got their ass whipped because they were good boys and said, okay, no Psychers.
Yep. Follow that codex. The Space Book.
Codex Space Book. So I'm excited for Space Marine 2 to come out. I re-downloaded Space Marine 1 and was playing through it the other day, and I'm excited to see Space Marine 2 come out.
I am still waiting I am still waiting for them to put it on Xbox again, because I am so fucking ready to play that game again.
So I think it's on the Xbox Pass if you subscribe to that.
Ooh, I got to look that up now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, that, like I said, that's the game that got me started. I had Haney might know what I'm talking about. I had Nick Gaith as a freaking as a roommate, right? Oh my God. I could tell you stories about him that would get me sued in a fucking heartbeat. That fucking kid. I still love him to death. I still love him to death, but holy shit, he did some weird stuff in that room, dude. And it was like anything in the Marine Corps that, like, when weird shit happened, whether it was in the barracks or the field or in Afghanistan, you always reacted the same way. You just kind of you looked away and you did your own shit and you forgot about it. And the problem is, the shit Gaith was doing was so fucking weird, you couldn't forget about it. Like, it's there. It's in your. It's burned into your consciousness now. It's a great guy. Yeah, yeah. And stop me if I told the story on another podcast. Now, we had the guy that he listened, or he sat there in his room and watched porn on his TV like it was a movie. Mm. Like he'd just be sitting there like this. He'd just be sitting there, just watching it like it's porn. And you'd walk in there because when you get super bored when you get broke in the military, so you start walking around the barracks and trying to find shit to do on the weekends, just seeing what everybody else is up to. You walk in there and you're just sitting there watching porn, like this chick's just getting fucking destroyed. And he's just sitting there watching it. I'm sitting there, so I pull up a chair next to him. I'm sitting there kind of watching it too. Like, it's like, what's going on, buddy? He's like, oh, just kind of fucking bored as shit, man. We start talking about porn, and like, he knows where you get the script from, where you find a director, how you find the right guy, how you find the right girl. You put them together, you have them talk and make sure they're compatible and all this stuff, or if they've worked together. Like, he knows everything about making porn. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to say any, I'm not going to say any names. Like, anybody else in the battery can figure out who this guy was, but I'm pretty sure he's a fucking serial killer. Honestly, I think you have to be able to just sit there. So smartphones were just getting advanced in like 2010, 2011. And of course, we're Marines. We have to buy all the new shit, right? That's why we're always broke. And so we're out on 29 Palms. Well, we're out in 29 Palms. We drive out to this one place in 29 Palms I had never been to before or after this. We were there, and it was like all the sand was like mud. It was just like hard packed mud. Like, it was so hard packed that you drive a truck over and it wouldn't break it up. We were only there for the night, but somebody got service there, and somebody turned on some porn, on their tiny little cell phone. Like, I think that cell phone was like this big, back in those days. And he's sitting there just, watching that dick go in there and fucking destroy that shit. And there's like 12 dudes around this tiny ass little fucking thing. He's got the speaker cranked up all the way. And and like, he was FDC too. And like, everybody else from FDC was there. And then a bunch of, comm and, white 11s were all sitting there watching this shit with them. He's sitting there holding it. And I kind of like walk up and I look and I'm like, there's way too many hard dicks in this group right here. And there's not a woman for 20 fucking miles out here. So I walk away. I start to walk away. Well, the CO comes around and he fucking hears this shit. And he just like comes walking over and he fucking looks over everybody's shoulder. He's like, yeah, there's like 12 dudes watching a dick go in a fucking pussy right there. What the hell is wrong with you people? And the CO turns around, walks off, and everybody just kind of looks over and just goes right back to watching like nothing. I'm just sitting here like, why am I relating to the CO more than I am my fucking, the other enlisted right now? What the fuck's wrong with me? I mean, I don't know. The fucking field, though, man. You turn into a ninja. It's like, I don't know. You turned into a fucking ninja when it came to jerking off. That's for sure. I mean, that's one of the things why nobody likes that movie Jarhead, the original, because he talks about jerking off so much in there, and it just makes everybody so uncomfortable unless you're in the military, in the desert, or just out in the field, period. Because guess what? That's life. You're 20 years old. There's some hormones getting produced, okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. They weren't, yeah. They, no. That's not how it works. So the reason, and I know exactly what you're talking about because I worked in probably the last video store in the history of the planet and that came out. And like you said, you can just look at the cover of this thing and go, oh my God, this is dog shit. But the reason that those other movies, and I'm just throwing out speculation, but I'm going to say I'm accurate. The reason that their uniforms and all that shit is fucked up is because the Marine Corps would not sanction that movie.
Ah.
And if the Marine Corps don't want you wearing their uniforms, you don't wear their uniforms. Go ahead and get Desert Marpat and all that stuff, and then put like a different colored shirt underneath it. And like, like what you're saying. Yeah, if you were ever active Marine Corps or even reservist, you see their uniforms, it will make you sick. But the Marine Corps probably didn't sign off on those movies. That's why that is. But yeah, I never even bothered to try and watch the Jarhead movies. Like, not even remotely interested in watching.
I think I watched the original one, but it didn't strike me as good or bad. I mean, it was there. And I think also about the time it hit, because that was right between Desert Storm and the second time we went in. It was just a weird time too for like a Marine movie to come out.
Yeah.
Was it the second time over? Okay. Couldn't quite remember. Yeah. Either way, like I said, I remember it came out. I remember it made kind of splashes and I watched it. But again, it didn't catch me as great or bad. It was kind of there. And
yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
So I want to do an awkward transition from that because of something you said there. Have you guys seen the new Spider-Man?
Yes. Go see it.
So I've seen it.
We're not being sponsored by these guys, but I'm telling you to go see it.
Yep. All right. So I loved it when I was sitting in the theater. But once I got out and started thinking about it, I hated the movie now. Because it ended up being actually nothing in the end. It was 100% just fan service. You could take that whole movie, throw it away, and it made no impact on the entire rest of the Marvel universe. It didn't further any plots. It was 100% just hey, you guys have been asking for this. We did the thing for you. And all of it got resolved. So the whole thing built up to the great final. All the three are going to get together and beat all the bad guys. They beat all the bad guys in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. So again, it wasn't even like this big grand build up to something. It just, like I said, when I was in the theater, I loved it because all the nostalgia, all the member berries being hit left and right. Mm-hmm. But like I said, once I got back and walked away, I ended up like, no, it wasn't that great.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Mhm.
Yeah.
But they remember each other, which is weird. Yeah. No, it's set up. It set up Doctor Strange. Yeah. There's another
True, but it
multiverse.
didn't
There's.
have to.
I think. Yeah. So I know exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And I don't want to take that away from you.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
2 cents, though, have you guys seen the new Ghostbusters? Okay. So
Yeah.
everything that you just said that you liked about the Spider-Man, the new Ghostbusters did right. I cried in the theater of Ghostbusters, went home, thought about it, had a great time still, and I will still say it hit all those notes that you said you liked about the Spider-Man in all the right ways without it just being an obvious, we're pandering to you. Because again, to me, there's no story to the Spider-Man movie once you walked away from just the whole, hey, look, we're being zany and bring all 3 Spider-Mans together. Whereas Ghostbusters wrote a totally new original story that built off the first 2. The reboot doesn't exist in this world. This is built off of the first 2 movies. So whole new story, brought all the nostalgia in, all those member berries that you've been wanting, did it right without sacrificing the way I felt Spider-Man sacrificed. So I'd fully say, if you get a chance, see Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah. That guy. He's a good freaking actor, dude. And what's weird. Yeah. No.
Well, that's because it's William Dafoe playing William Dafoe. That's all he does. He's fucking great at it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But every movie he shows up, he's like, what's the script? And they're like, you don't need a script. He's like, you're right. And he just does William Dafoe shit. And it works.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, he looks the exact same as he did on Platoon. So like he's just always been that creepy, gross guy since the 80s. So
Really?
oh wow.
So like
My
you guys
dad
need to have a screening video.
Yeah, my
What?
no, that is a waste of time. That movie is a waste of time. I'm sorry.
It's long. I mean, it's so if you take a step back and look at from a filmographer standpoint, it's beautifully filmed, it's beautifully choreographed and everything. Story not super great, but you can't deny the helicopter scene with the Flight of the Valkyries coming in and everything. Phenomenal scene.
Yeah, it's not a good movie for the military people. It's a good movie for civilians.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll give it that.
And
I'll give it that.
I'll concede that every time. And actually, most war movies are that way. Most military movies are way better for the civilians than for you guys, unfortunately. And I think like you could talk about, yeah, well, bigger marker, but also too, I think if movies hit everything that you guys would be picking up on, they're to be so subtle or so, I don't want to say hurtful, but so more meaningful to you guys, then the rest of us will be sitting around going, well, what was any of this?
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know when Full Metal Jacket first came out, there was a dip for a while because everyone was terrified of Gunny as a drill sergeant, what he did to everybody.
And he wasn't then once that the movie bad.
Got super popular.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. He was an in-dock drill instructor. He wasn't an actual drill instructor. It was that first week you're like, oh, this is going to be so easy, and then you get your fucking platoon on Black Friday happens, and you're like, no, this is not going to be easy. So talking about movies, before we get off that subject, I rewatched The Rock the other day because Critical Drinker, the YouTuber, came out with he did his thing on it. And I went back and I watched it, and there's a scene in there because it's about evil Marines, right? Our most favorite thing on earth, evil Marines, right? And not going to go into the context of the script. You can go see the movie yourself. You probably already have. But there's a scene just before the SEAL team gets wiped out where the SEAL commander's telling the Marines that, I have shipmates that got fucked over the same way your shipmates did by Congress, but it doesn't give you the right to fucking mutiny. And I thought, oh my fucking God, whoever wrote that, like, you got to go and watch it because I can't fucking paraphrase enough, but like somebody who was actually in the Navy and the Marine Corps wrote that fucking line, that couple sentences he told them before they all got fucking wasted. But he was totally like, and like, that's going back to the civilian things. The civilians have no fucking idea what they're talking about. But like, yeah, if you're a Marine and you're a fucking sailor, a SEAL or something like that, there's a lot going on there behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. It's like I was done.
He's like, I'm fucking done.
I'm done.
Oh Lord, it's been so long since I've seen A Few Good Men. That you can't handle the truth.
Oh, yeah. I've never got to see that all the way through. That's one of my cursed movies. Whenever I try to sit down and watch it, something happens, I have to leave. That's a shitty movie.
I mean, it's, again, as a total civilian who has no idea how military court would work, absolutely great acting. I mean, you can't go wrong with Tom Cruise at his height of his career. I mean, arguably his height at that point. Jack Nicholson being fucking Jack Nicholson. I mean, it was intense, and obviously a great film. Again, as a civilian, not knowing anything about military court or how it works.
Well, I remember the beginning. It all started with that guy basically thinking on his unit. He was kind of a shitbird, and then he tried getting out of his unit to by thinking on a bunch of them, and like, I don't see that actually happening in a unit. But here's the thing: I was in the Marine Corps during a time of war. Things are different. So yeah, could something like that happen? Potentially. And like some of the shit that honestly happened in the barracks where me and Haney were at the same time, there's some really bad shit that happened that we never even fucking heard about. And it probably happened the next door. I mean, there was all kinds of bad shit. There's a guy, I was roommates with him for like 2 or 3 months, not very long. And when he got to the fleet, he was doing like local security. And with local security, you take your M16 loaded to your room with you because, you know, you got to have it on you all the time. But at the same time, you got to live. You can't check it in and out of the armory all the time. So he was rooming with another guy who was local suck, is what we call him. And he just walked in there, and the other guy had laid down on his bed and blew his brains out right there on the fucking rack. Never heard of that. Nobody heard about that. They fucking just kept it quiet. I don't know how the fuck they keep stuff quiet in the military. That is just so insane. Like, I mean, I guess they've had thousands of years to figure out how to do it. But you know what's fucked up? Yeah. Well, I can't. Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck? Jesus fucking Christ. So this is my theory.
So slightly changing back to a better topic. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, okay, hold
I was
that
just going to
topic,
get back.
but
okay, go ahead.
yeah. So, well, I'll be quick so you can get back to your thing. But yeah, my buddy, he's an 0811. We need to get him on here because fucking Haney'd love this guy. He's a reservist, but Haney'd still love him. That's how much of a that's just what this guy's like. We'll tell you. We'll go that way. We'll let him introduce himself when he gets here. But he got kicked out for the vaccine mandate, and just the reservist side of the Marine Corps sounds like they're freaking. It sounds like their morale is just shit. Like if the reserves are bad, you know, active is really bad, and usually you'd like to think of them as being separate, but no. It's yeah, it's a little bit different. But yeah, going back to your topic. And I have no idea
just
why.
Switching back to movies again. So my daughter absolutely loves war movies. My daughter absolutely loves war movies. So we watch, tons of them. And she asked me not too long ago, hey, do you think we're ever going to get really good war movies of the most recent wars? Because I mean, most war movies are, World War II. You may get a Vietnam one here or there, but that's kind of the sweet spot for war movies. And, I try to tell her, I was like, well, we fight different wars now. I mean, it's not like you had 30,000 guys on the ground fighting 30,000 guys on the ground. It's a lot harder to do what we do now in places. And I talked to her a little bit about, I think I mentioned Jarhead. I mentioned, oh shit, what was that one I watched not too long ago? Fuck. Anyway, but it's just the idea of, is it possible to write a story that would capture what's happened over there, but still do it in a movie format, kind of like Saving Private Ryan or, the big military hit movies?
I hope not, because I don't want to fucking see him.
And that's fair. That's very fair.
That's me though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to be. I mean, you have to be there.
Yeah, they're type.
So, so I watched a movie not too long ago. I think it came out. I think it says 2019, called The Outpost. Have you ever seen that one?
Yes, about the army getting their ass shot off.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, they're hunkered down, and kind of all the fuck ups that came along with why they were stuck in this hole for way too long. But
They
that
they
was
kept
like the
losing
last one that I've
COs.
that kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead,
That's kind
man.
of the last one I've seen that kind of dealt with kind of what we're doing over there. It wasn't great, wasn't terrible, but again, made me wonder. I was like, why does it seem like they're struggling to make that kind of movie?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, allies and access. Yep. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's yeah, you had the Viet Cong and shit in Vietnam. You had to fight. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I had
All right, my first.
growing up. I think
So
I had.
sorry to let you know, I need a bolt in about 2 more minutes. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, so going back to the making movies about it, like they made a couple movies about, I think Kajaki, which is a fob where I was. They made a movie about it. They had a couple of documentaries about all the shit when the British were there, and then we took over right after that. And I never finished the movie Kajaki because the first 30 seconds they show these guys driving down the same road that I drove up and down about probably 500 times when I was there. And they got the color of the rocks perfect for Kajaki. And I turned the fucking thing off. So, so they start making movies about Iraq and stuff. I'll never be able to watch them. Restrepo, yeah, Restrepo was a good one. Yeah, yeah. Restrepo was the first documentary I'm aware of that a unit took a bunch of GoPros or whatever the hell they had for cameras, and went out and they basically did their entire deployment with fucking cameras on. And
That's interesting.
I like what they did. They did the right thing in there by setting up that patrol base, or that PB, whatever the hell you want to call it, fire position, up on that position. They did perfect with that. I mean, that's what we would have been doing. But yeah, it's still the Army. I don't like how they do shit. It's like I said, Lance Corporal most of my freaking Marine Corps career, but like, God damn it, you people are going to get your ass shot off the way you're doing stuff. And then they did. But, that's just them. And they fucking do that. I know, and you can't tell them about it. You talk to fucking Army people, it's like, dude, you guys did so much dumb shit that got your asses shot off. And all you had to do was just not do that. Oh, bullshit, blah, 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 blah. It's like, we were doing the same thing. We didn't have that problem,
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, kids. Well, I need a bolt.
All right. All right.
That's okay. Hey, Dan, message me if you want to do some Warhammer stuff, though.
Definitely. I want to see if you can print some stuff out for me sometime.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just let me know, and I can let you know, because I won't charge anything for it, but I'll let you know how much like materials will cost me and stuff.
All right, yeah, we definitely got to talk about that. If you want something painted, yeah, send it up, man. I'll freaking get it done.
Cool. All right, guys, you have a good night.
All right, take it easy, man.